Okay, part two. I apologize. My battery died on my phone. I thought I had more time. I don't remember where I was, so let me start over on a thought. Again, I'm coming back to this point that of the idea that of students as an investment, schooling as an investment. Um, School is provided for free by the government, by the public government, at the local level of the government, and then states. Okay, let me explain one thing. The state is the unit that is still in charge of disseminating education. Since No Child Left Behind, we've seen a greater reach of federal control than we've ever seen in schools. In the history of U.S. schools, but the state is still predominantly the unit that disseminates education. All right, but the individual state, South Carolina, Texas, where I am, Illinois, where I grew up, whatever, they're in charge of their own standards and disseminating education. They do that in the idea that they are producing future citizens and future workers. It is considered an investment. They collect tax dollars, they provide free education, knowing that at some point those kids are going to become adults and those kids are going to need to know how to behave in a democratic society or a Republican society, not Republican like red state GOP Republican, but like we have a republic. That's the form of government we have. In order to participate in our political system and participate as workers in our economic system, they need to be trained more highly and more efficiently. That is the investment of public education. I hate to just simplify your jobs and student life into that sort of commodity language, but it's a reality of sort of what we're doing, what we're participating in. And I want you to think about your role in that, what you want your role to be. Now, one of my heroes, I think I've said this in some of my responses, Louis C.K., the stand-up comedian, he has one of my favorite quotes of his. He says, he's talking about his two daughters and having to parent them, and he says, I'm not raising children, I'm raising adults. Meaning, I have to keep in mind that every lesson I teach them is about getting them to be fully functioning, emotionally healthy grown-ups. Because someday that's what they're going to be. That is the mentality of public education. We are educating students not because, not in the immediate need of having a well-mannered body of children in our society. We need to have fully functioning, capable, individually independent adults. That is the function of school in our society. Now, if you're mortified, some of you, I think, will probably hear that and say, yeah, that's exactly what I need to do. And that's not necessarily, I think, intended to be a horrifying statement. However, some of you it might give you pause, and you think, well, I don't go to work every day just to train workers. So what I'd like us to think about this semester as we move forward is how to do both, right? Or what role you want to play in this process. I think what we're going to find is it's not either or. You're not part of that sort of, I don't know if anybody's ever seen The Wall, the Pink Floyd movie, or listened to the song Brick in the Wall. But you're necessarily just marching kids through a military process down toward a meat grinder where they're mashed up and made into a product. I don't think anybody signed up for this job for that purpose. However, I do ask you to acknowledge that is part of what we're doing. That's part of what we have going on in public education, is that we are sort of uniform. No, that's a terrible word. Standardizing and making a uniform education for all. Now, yeah, I don't know. No, end of sentence, I guess. What role do you want to play in that process then? I don't think, and I don't think Horton and Ferrari would say this either, I don't think that means that there is no role to play for the teacher in helping students get something more, get something better, right? That is sort of the function of the system of school, but that doesn't have to be the act of schooling that you perform. That doesn't have to be the role that you fill as a teacher. You can, within that system, create an education for students that helps them grow, that helps them engage the world in interesting ways, in artistic ways, in thoughtful ways, in emotionally healthy ways. I think you can create a classroom that is safe and vibrant and neat, even if you're teaching like 10th grade fractions, right, or whatever. I don't remember what math you take in the 10th grade. Geometry. Not that if you teach math, I don't mean to dump on your subject as boring. I just keep coming back to it because it's the homework that I help my kid with every night in the 7th grade. Let's not frame it as an either or, that you all as teachers are either cogs in a machine that chews up and spits out individuality and turns it into either soldiers or laborers. But you are also not sort of self-actualizing agents that go into the school every day to hold hands with kids until you ascend into the clouds of learning and understanding, like the beginning of Reading Rainbow. You're probably in every moment both of those things. Well, if you're good at your job, you're both. Like, you're never going to be able to escape the first one. You're never going to be able to escape the system that you're in. But you can also be a good teacher, right? You can also be a positive and productive force in a child's life. So I think what the readings for last week and what I'm asking you to think about to start this semester is how you want to be that productive teacher and mentor in the lives of children, while being explicitly honest about with yourself about the job you have and the system that you're a part of, right? None of this class is intended to get anybody to change their major, but we do need to have some very open and honest conversations about the current state of schools in the U.S. and what they are for. So I think that's all I've got for this week. I really was satisfied with the level, for the most part, of discussion this week. I hope we can keep it rolling. We have discussion boards this week, as always, and then we've got your papers due to me by Friday. If all goes according to plan, you will be watching this about Tuesday afternoon. So that's plenty of time to get the work done, but I'm around with email, etc. I apologize for all the hiccups as this class got started, but I think we're off and running now, and I'm looking forward to the next 8 weeks. All right, bye.